Well, have you ever wanted to grade one or two of your coins but didn't know quite where to start? Watch this video, listen carefully, and at the end of this video you should know a hell of a lot more about the subject of grading than you did before. Hey guys, it's Numistacker, and today we're going to talk about something a little bit different. Those of you who watched my AI experiment the other day, thank you very much for watching it. I understand most of the feedback was kind of negative, and people have requested to hear my voice, and I am more than happy to oblige. So let's go and let's get into it. We're going to talk about coin grading. So if you have already graded coins or you own graded coins, then you'll know about the 70-point scale. So this is a scale which doesn't use every one of those numbers between 1 and 70, and most collectors and modern coins will be interested only in the top grade 70 or perhaps the second grade 69. But a lot of collectors will experience their coins right across the whole range as they get older. The older they get, the more likely it is to have grades which are from 45, 50, 55, 58. But whichever number your coin gets, it's a means of getting a kind of agreed condition for trading and an agreed condition for describing and looking after those particular coins. What type of coins are you likely to find in a slab? You'll find circulation coins, you'll find proof coins, you'll find specially created coins or specimen coins. There's a whole variety of designations, and within that you'll find coins that are proof or proof-like, and there are collectors for all of those different types of coins. The slab itself is a kind of very hard shell plastic, and it's designed to protect the coins. The coins are not hermetically sealed inside the slab. They do offer a good level of protection, but silver will still gradually tarnish even within a slab. What kind of grading companies are there? Well, there are only two companies we're going to talk about in this video: NGC and PCGS. NGC are based in Florida, PCGS are based in California, in Sacramento, and they operate around the world providing an authentication and grading and verification service for lots of different types of collectibles, and coins are just one of the things that they deal with. Apart from a few special visits of graders to faraway places, 98% of the grading is done at their home HQ. So if you submit your coins in London, they will go to Florida, to NGC, to be graded, or you can post your coins to PCGS in California, and they will be graded in California and then sent back to you. PCGS do operate in Paris as well, but they do not yet offer grading services in London. The grading process itself, the way it would normally work, and this is the way it is said to work, because grading is a little bit of a black hole which nobody can see into, but NGC put out a video some time ago saying that they have 2 or even 3 graders looking at each coin that goes in. They then assign a grade, and there is then a senior grader called a finalizer, who then takes a look at those grades, takes a look at the coin, and decides on balance what the grade that goes on the slab should be. Some people have said that for bulk coins or modern coins, they may not go through this whole convoluted process for every single coin, and there's no way of really verifying that. One of the first things that you'll experience when you decide to send your coins in for grading is this thing called a tier. And a tier is the level or the service level that the coin is entered into for grading. And that is probably the most complicated part of the grading process, is understanding what the differences are between the different tiers and when to enter your coin in one tier rather than the other. Usually it's based on the insured value that you want to provide for the coin, or the tier value, because each tier has a maximum value for a coin that can be entered against it. And the second most common one of those differentiators is the material that the coin is made of. So, for example, coins which are modern after 1965 will go in the modern grade, and they can also be made of gold. There is another tier called the gold tier, but the gold tier itself is only really necessary for coins that have a value of over £2,000. On the British system, it's slightly more. I think it's $3,000 on the American system. But if the coin is over that value item, it has to go into the gold tier, which is slightly more expensive all round per coin to grade in. So a lot of people take a look at the tiers and they make a mistake, and they think that if it's a gold coin, it must go into the gold tier. That's not actually true. Be very careful you don't overpay by putting the coin into a tier which is too high for it. Similarly, if a coin has a value of over £2,500 in the UK, even if it's made of gold, it doesn't go into the gold tier, but it goes into the express tier. Now, you might think that the express tier provides an express service, and if you send coins into America, it can possibly provide an express service, providing that you send it back without lower tier coins in the same parcel. But for the UK, there is only one service level, because all coins are sent and received together. So express is really a way of differentiating coins which are over £2,500 and under £7,500. And we could talk for an hour just on the different tiers and options and grades. Coins which won't fit into a standard slab can either have an extra thick slab. For example, a 2-ounce silver coin will need a thick slab, and there is an extra charge of a few pounds for one of those type of slabs. And if your coin is wider in diameter, I think it's wider than about 55 millimeters, but I may be wrong for those of you who've looked at that information recently. It needs to go into an extra large slab. So you get, things like, can be quite a small coin like the 2-ounce Libertad silver coins that end up being put into quite a large, extra large slab, because NGC don't have anything to put it into which is kind of an intermediate size. So sometimes it can be worth grading those kind of coins with PCGS, because they have a slightly better looking intermediate level slab for slightly larger coins that don't fit in to the standard holder. So how do you go through and send your coins in for grading? Well, there's 2 or 3 different ways of getting your coins into the system, and I'm going to give an example from NGC. So the first thing you can do is, if you're going to be slabbing coins regularly, then you may want to think about having a direct membership of NGC, and you can pay an annual fee to be a member, and that gives you the right to submit coins directly, in which case you have to know the system inside out and fill in your own forms. Or you can use the services of an authorised NGC dealer. If you look on the NGC website, you'll be able to see the dealers that are near you geographically, and you'll be able to make contact with them and send in or give them your coins, and they will go through the whole process for you. In terms of timing, it's a little bit like watching paint dry. There are commonly delays of 2 to 3 months from beginning to end, because the coins have to go to the USA, and if the USA grading teams are particularly busy, then it may be even several weeks before a package that arrives and is logged in actually starts the grading process, and it can be another few weeks before it's finished and finalised and photographed and out the door back to you. So it does require patience, whether you send direct to the USA or whether you process your coins through an NGC authorized dealer like myself. I have probably sent in many thousands of coins at this point to NGC, and 99.9% of the time everything goes according to plan and everything goes right and there's nothing to worry about whatsoever. But having sent so many coins in, I am aware that very occasionally things do go wrong. So let's have a talk about the kind of things that you might experience if you are unlucky and things do go wrong. What happens if your coin is damaged by NGC, for example? If there's an accident, if it's scratched, if there's a mark on it that wasn't there when it was sent in, what happens and what is your recourse? Well, the first thing to say is that every time you send a coin in, ideally you would express a value for that coin, a value that you would be prepared to take if there was a total loss or damage to that coin. And you should tell your dealer that or write it accurately on your form. This kind of thing has happened a few times since I've been a dealer for NGC, and sometimes it has a happy outcome, sometimes it doesn't. And here's a few tips to make sure that you have the happiest outcome that is possible. NGC does not take detailed close-up video or photographs when a coin comes in and goes through the grading process. As a consequence, there may be some times when the people at NGC say, well, we didn't cause that particular problem, we didn't cause that particular scratch. And without detailed photographs of the condition that a coin was in before it went into the grading process, it's very difficult to make the case and prove one way or another what the real condition of the coin was. My advice to anyone grading coins with NGC is, if you have a coin which is particularly valuable, then please do take dated photographs before you send it in or before you hand it over to your dealer, and make those photographs as good as possible so the condition of both sides and surfaces are documented, because those will be invaluable. Those pictures will be invaluable if there is any possible argument over the condition of that particular coin. It's obviously not worth the time it's going to take to do that for every coin, for lower value coins, because that time is probably worth more than the coin itself, and the likelihood of this happening is very, very small. As I say, it's a very tiny proportion of coins where there are this kind of problem. If the coin itself is lost, then it's clearer, because if it is, for example, NGC who lost the coin, there will be a value on the tier form for the maximum value of that coin, and then the dealer or NGC should then pay you for that coin, particularly if it's lost within the grading process, between the time that it's given to NGC and the time that the dealer gets it back again. Then the value on that grading form is the value that NGC will go on if there is a total loss. There are a couple of other more minor things that could go wrong in this process. Sometimes, for no reason at all, a coin comes back with issues with the label. And sometimes you don't even notice it until weeks or months afterwards. In terms of their conditions, NGC will say all defects on the label need to be picked up and returned to them within 14 days of the coin being sent back. In practice, if anything is obvious, they will actually sort it out after that as well. I have a 2 sovereign piece that's going back this week, and they put on it 2 sovereign memorial, whereas the actual coin is 2 sovereign Platinum Jubilee. Sometimes they just get it wrong. If they do get it wrong, they are absolutely willing to change the label free of charge, but the process of changing it does take another 2 months. So you won't have access to the coin in order to resell it, for example, for a couple of months if there is a label change required. Sometimes the thing that goes wrong is that the coin turns out to be a details coin. What is a details coin? It's a coin that doesn't get a direct numeric grade on that 70-point scale. It has something which NGC wants to alert that is wrong with it. Most obviously, cleaning will give you a details coin, but I've also seen scratches, environmental damage, dubious colour. There are some things where they will find a fault with a coin and still put it in a holder, but write a details grading on the holder. There are some coins that get so badly detailed that NGC won't even put them in a holder. For example, if they think that the surface has been altered or the coin is not genuine, then they will not holder it at all, but they will still charge for that grading process. So be very careful as far as possible sending coins in which have faults, unless they're particularly rare and you want them to be put in a holder even with the details fault on the coin label. Question I'm asked all the time is, will my coin be worth more graded? Well, maybe yes and maybe no. It depends on so many different things. And of course, everybody has different motivations to grade their coins. A lot of people are motivated by profit and money, and they are looking at whether or not a coin is worth more graded than raw, and whether or not if they get a good grade that will dramatically increase the value of their coin. Other people are looking to get assurance that the coin is genuine and authentic, in which case they will grade because of that. When I started to grade myself, I wanted to put everything in boxes which looked exactly the same and have every single coin I ever bought graded. When I first started many years ago, some of those coins became details, and I started to learn to pick out the better coins because I failed miserably in the first few months in buying coins off eBay, and they all turned out pretty much to be details coins. So which coins should you pick to grade? It's a very personal thing, and obviously the best coins to grade are coins which are in brilliant condition or real rarities, or coins which really you want to keep protected over a number of years in that slab. But there's a lot of people out there who grade what I call social media rarities. What kind of coins are social media rarities? Well, 2009 Kew Gardens 50p's, 2023 Salmon 50p's. They're change checker type, fairly contrived rarities. Some of them there's a real rarity that goes with it, but they are coins that everybody goes after because they've gone viral on social media, hence social media rarities. Another reason that people grade coins is because they look at the potential big price difference between grades. So particularly for rare coins where there is a real difficulty in getting hold of great condition examples, just getting one extra point on that 70-point scale can, in some cases, double or even triple the value of the coin. And therefore people will be finding examples and grading them just to go through the process of seeing whether their coin can be given that one extra grade that's worth a lot more money. I'd like to wrap it up now because roughly 20 minutes is probably more than enough for anyone to listen to and still be there at the other end of that listening. But coin grading, I think, is a lot of fun. I think that it adds an element of gamifying to something which is quite gamified in the first place, which is collecting, as an extra dimension. And pretty much all the people I know who grade, who are my customers as an NGC dealer, seem to really enjoy the process, getting their grades, the excitement of not knowing what the grades are, seeing the slabs for the first time. It may be something little in life and maybe a little thing that kind of please certain people, but it says a lot that probably between the two big grading companies, over 80 million coins have been graded so far. So somebody is clearly having a lot of fun out of this. And I would recommend, if you do collect coins, don't have a downer on grading. Try it out. Either try it through a dealer to put your toe in the water, or try it yourself as a member of NGC or a member of PCGS, and see whether you like it, see whether it's for you. If you don't like something that's put in a slab, you can always very carefully remove it from the slab and put it back in its old-fashioned wooden box. Maybe that's what you like in terms of fondling your coins, but it's still useful sometimes to know what the general market thinks the grade is. So thanks for listening. If you're still here after 21 minutes, then kudos to you. Well done on perseverance and staying the course. And I will be back fairly soon with another video on another interesting coin subject.